Today I'm speaking with Dan Ruble. Dan is the co-owner of PME Equipment, a sales representative firm that provides equipment and designs production lines for food, pharmaceutical, or industrial manufacturers in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. Dan has applied various areas of mathematics in several engineering and sales roles over the past 30 years. Can you give an example of how perhaps you use geometry in designing custom machinery?
We could have a bin that, let's just say, hypothetically needed to hold 1,500 pounds of material. Well, we would know based upon the available height, the available footprint in that area, what sort of space we have to design that bin. Then we would know based upon the materials, we have to start looking at the angle of a hopper, which basically a hopper is going to be a cylindrical section and then a conical section.
Mm-hmm.
And so from an industry standard, you would say that the typical hopper angle is 60 degrees. That for most materials, 60-degree angle, that product's going to flow.
Okay.
And then we can look at that and using sine and cosine to know that if the top of the hopper has a 3-foot diameter, the bottom of the hopper has a 6-inch diameter. Well, we're tapering down from that upper diameter to the lower diameter on an angle.
Mm-hmm.
We calculate using sine and cosine how tall that's going to be.
Oh,
And
I
then
see.
we would know in turn if that's going to fit in the available space.
Okay.
In some cases, it might be a 70-degree angle because it's that really difficult material. It won't flow on a 60-degree angle, so we have to go to 70-degree or even 75-degree. So in doing all of that, we then know, will it fit in the space?
Right.
And if it doesn't, what provisions are we taking? Are we going to shorten the hopper? Are we going to say, well, we can design you a hopper, but it can't hold 1,500 pounds. It can only hold 1,200 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So a lot of geometry in that design of a bin. I need to have a hopper that holds 1,500 pounds of material.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a hopper holding 1,500 pounds of salt, which is a pretty dense, heavy material, versus holding 1,500 pounds of milk powder, which is very light and fluffy, are two entirely different hoppers. So we get into a lot of mass volume density calculations, for example, to know, because ultimately I'm not being asked to design a 1,500-pound hopper. I'm being asked to design a hopper that has a volume of whatever cubic feet that is. So there's a lot of that takes place. I may be told by a customer, I want to produce 5 million pounds a year.
Mm-hmm.
I need to then start some calculations and asking questions. Is it a single shift operation or 3 shifts? Is it 5 days a week or 7 days a week? Is it 8-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts? And from there, really kind of getting down from that 5 million pounds a year to saying, okay, they really need to produce 625 pounds an hour.
Right.
And then knowing based on the steps required to do that, is that a 1-person operation, a 2-person operation? We might be selling a piece of equipment that's $3 million. Well, what's that customer getting for $3 million?
Right.
And the answer might be they're currently working 2 shifts and they only have to work 1. So then we have to understand how many operators they have and what's the labor rate and what's the cost of electricity, and taking all of those factors into account to say, well, by cutting from 2 shifts to 1 shift, you've saved yourself $1.6 million. So you have an ROI under 2 years. Some of the statistics that we get involved with, and it's indirectly from a day-to-day basis, but we work with our customers a lot on testing equipment. It's a very easy example to utilize, where a customer is going to take, and we'll just say hypothetically, salt, pepper, garlic, and parsley. Mm-hmm. And they want to make a marinade that's going to go on to meats or vegetables or whatever. They may go through blending for 15 minutes, take a scoop sample, and analyze the percentage of parsley in there compared to the percentage of parsley in their good end product. And they might take 20, 30 samples and look at a standard deviation of the parsley flakes to determine if that's a suitable blend or not. I think that going back, because we've kind of just alluded to this, I think if I would have understood that learning this was helping me to think differently,
Yeah.
and that being actually conveyed as by a teacher to a student, I
Mhm.
think the power of that would have been pretty significant.